So happy to be here. Finally, Women in Tech is happening. I have been one of the fortunate ones who have been part of the physical events, and I do hope that we see a lot of value with this digital setup as well. And thanks for the whole production team of making this happen. So, what does this mean for us? Why are we here? I'm coming from Ericsson, and I'm head of people there, and we're driving a business unit called Managed Services. We are on a quest to ensure that connectivity reaches everyone out in the world. But there's also a second reason to why we're here, and that is that we are here to bring future leaders to both the company and also the society as a whole. And the recent year has definitely showed what a dramatic change we need to do in order to be future ready as leaders. And I'm so happy to be here because I do believe that the ones I'm talking to, you are the ones who will be shaping this future and will be the leaders who will drive society for the better. So we're going to play a short video, but before I do that, there's a couple key takeaways that I want to mention now that I hope everyone bring with them in the conversations you're having with your teams and your leaders today. Future leaders are the ones who understand that we should focus primarily on mental health and well-being. So over the year, we definitely have seen that the companies that will stay successful in the future are the ones who know that mental health needs to be a top priority. Second one is to remove distractions. Previously, you had managers who wanted to have office time in order to do something of value. Now it's the other way around. You as a leader now need to ensure that you give your people time to reflect, to zone off, and to remove all the barriers for them in order to be able and be productive at work. So really ensure that you remove the obstacles that you see in the organization. Third one is the digital teams. When you have digital teams and working distributed as we're doing today, you realize that you need to connect more and you need to be more open and transparent about your trigger points. What is working well and what is not working as a team. And that comes to the fourth and final one, and that is around psychological safety. So start having other type of conversations with your team, and you need to start having those now. So with that, we had a great interview, and I had a great talk with Peter Loreen, who's heading our business unit Managed Services and part of Ericsson's executive team. And now we're running the video, and you can hear a bit of his reflections, and then we'll come back and summarize till the end. Here you go. Peter, why is Women in Tech so important?
Women in tech is super important for us for many reasons. But it really comes down to that diversity is important. Because we believe that a company like Ericsson with 100,000 people, 180 countries, we are diverse, but not really on the gender side as much as we want to be. We are 20-30%, but we could be much more. And why is that important? Because we believe that that provides much more creativity, much more outside-in views, and also much more dynamics that actually fosters innovation. Because also what we stand for is different from where we came from. We're entering a new society where 5G, artificial intelligence, and Internet of Things, and we talk about maybe buzzwords with Industry 4.0, but it's really around connecting all the devices out there to do new things. So we need new perspectives, and that means diversity in all shapes and forms. Sort of the gender is just one dimension, but I think it's an important dimension. So we need smart people. That's the bottom line. And that's why we want Women in Tech to see Ericsson as an attractive workplace.
And what are the key learnings then from last year?
What a year. So many learnings. But if I start with the most important learning, it's really around our customers. They saw an increased need to keep their networks up. To provide internet connectivity to everyone in their geography became a necessity. So important. And we not only provide the technology, we also operate many of these networks. So that became super critical. Then the other reflection or learning that we have was that when the pandemic hit in Q1 of 2020, we needed to send home about 85% of our staff. So that's around 85,000 people went home more or less overnight. So to have the infrastructure to make people productive, that was one. But also to provide the technical means, ergonomics at home, all of these aspects became important during the months ahead. What we did then, we took pulse surveys, sort of a check-in with our staff along the way. Are they okay? How do they feel? What are their concerns? And interestingly enough, we could see that actually productivity did not go down significantly. Yes, it was harder to do workshops, but we kind of overcame a lot of those things. And then we actually also saw that the flexibility was something that actually people also saw as a positive. So there were negatives, of course, but there were also some positives that we need to take with us going forward. So actually job satisfaction has increased during the pandemic for Ericsson staff. And this flexibility is quite appreciated, and we will take that in to how we work after COVID.
So we now see companies going either fully remote, or we also see companies having very much focus on the physical office. We're going more in a hybrid model. So what's your view on that?
And we're still, of course, in this testing phase where we're in the pandemic going into something new, but we have taken a few bets, and that is that it will be much more flexible going forward. So we are working with a model that we call the hybrid model, where you can work remote if you want. So maybe we will land some 50-50 in office versus remote, but we will provide all the digital capabilities. And our mantra is really digital first. So if you want to start up your day on working from home, connecting with your global team through team sessions, you do that. And if you then later go into the office that day or the day after to interact, to have workshops, to meet in the lounge area, you do that. But the office should be remodeled into more of a campus space, more of a social interaction space. But you will work seamlessly in the new world after COVID.
So how have things changed from a business perspective?
Yeah, from a business perspective, it has been quite a challenging but also super exciting year, in the sense that most geographies sees that the pandemic has required the network to be even more resilient, to be much more robust. But also we are standing in front of a new technology shift into 5G. So many operators have actually invested in the new technology. And this, I believe, will be so exciting, because we have digitalized more in this year than we've done in maybe 10 years before. So when now we see a much more digitalized society, at the same time as we have new components with 5G, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, when everything will be connected, then actually we could do so much things that we couldn't do before that is good for the planet. We might not need to travel as much. We might not need to sort of interact in the same non-sustainable way, but actually could interact much more sustainable. And that beyond travel, that is actually how industries are connected, how machine to machines are connected, how we communicate as a society. Autonomous cars is another good example. So I believe that we are standing in front of a very exciting phase where we need smart people. So there, women in tech would be a great place for us to attract smart individuals.
And what about connectivity then? So how does 5G and connectivity play a role in all of this?
I think we all can feel that if you've been working from home in these times, how important is your internet connection for you? I think we all can subscribe to the fact that internet connection has never been more important than it is right now. And that it goes beyond your personal connectivity, that goes for the whole society. Mission critical networks, autonomous cars, all these things will be super important as we go forward. And there we are in an extremely exciting phase where 5G and artificial intelligence will recreate the technology landscape. Because AI is nothing without data, 5G creates so much data from all the Internet of Things and all the connected devices, all the Industry 4.0 connected industries. So all of this together is like a perfect sort of melting pot for technology and anyone who's interested in new things. But we need a diversity, we need sort of different types of people. So Charlotte, if I would put a question to you, why will leadership not be the same again?
Work is an activity and it's not a destination. And now it's about us as leaders to start building trust and start discussing that in the team that you have and that you are in. And we definitely need to start talking to our teams about when it's important to physically meet, because that's definitely where we see we build empathy and we foster innovation. The second part of it as well is that we definitely see that remote work definitely helps from a flexibility point of view. And I, for one, can tick in a box in that one. So for us, it's now about building trust as leaders. It's also about understanding the digital tools that we have in front of us and that we can start to maximize the value of to ensure that these two worlds are being met. So with that, I think we are now focused on the team. And as leaders, you now need to start talking about, for example, areas such as social guilt. So what does it mean for me when I'm working remote? We have also private situations that we need to handle. And when you start to change the conversations on how you're going to work fully digital, it actually gives you a lot of insights on how you best work from a productivity point of view and also from a well-being. And we believe that both matters.
That's so true, Charlotte. And I believe that the trust part will be a challenge for many managers across the world, but also in Ericsson, because we will now focus on output, not time in the office. And I believe that this way of working, where we actually more or less took how we've been working in the industrial age for so long, right? We went from the factories into the office and we have these landscapes of cubicles. That will change, I believe, after COVID, where we've been working much more interactive but digital first. So that will require leaders to not think about FaceTime or office time as the only means to being productive. We will work maybe time shifting. You might have a task that you need to do in the middle of the day, and that's okay. And that's how we work. But I'm sure that that trust will then be looking at productivity, looking at output, looking at not only maybe your individual output, but the team's output. And that, I think, will be so much more exciting and so much more liberating to work in that environment. And that's why we need good people to be part of that journey.
Thank you, Peter. So you now heard Peter and myself talk a bit more about what this means for us at Ericsson. And we are in exciting times ahead as well. So we are heading now a big project for 100,000 people, which is called Workplace of the Future, where we are now building the future workplaces of tomorrow. And for us, the hybrid model is the one that we do believe matters the most. And I will stay after this session for a breakout and for questions, and would love to hear comments and thoughts from you guys listening in as well. And why do we believe the hybrid is the best way to go then? It's because we see the benefits of both. So one is that having the digital capabilities and tools in place are brilliant when we see remote work happening. And it brings so much more flexibility to many of us in different type of life situations that we are in. The second one is that physical presence matters. We are on the quest to build more empathy in the world and also within Ericsson. And we see that empathy are the new strong leaders that we need to have as well. And the physical presence is where you create, where you innovate, and where you get a better understanding of your own situation as well. And there's a couple notes before I will final comments that I would like you to bring with you. And that is, one is that you need to be ready for change as a leader anywhere and anytime. And this means constant revision and constant revising with your team on what works best for you. And we definitely now see the bigger need of continuous communication on what works. It's like a rubber band. And the second one is again on trust. So you need to give trust and you need to earn trust. And we definitely see that the more you give, you start better autonomous teams that also foster a lot more innovation and creativity in the team as well. And then also a final one on the team is also around well-being and productivity. So we have over the year been measuring this very, very closely with our 100,000 staff of understanding how productive are we, but in addition to that also, how are we doing? And we see a benefit of the two. And that's where we see the hybrid coming in. So the productivity has amazingly gone up pretty high because of the fact that you can actually work in a more silent setting and not being disturbed as often as you have been in the past. But we have also seen that the well-being can sometimes be a hinder for us because of the non-boundaries that you get between home and work. So well-being is now going to be a focus and top priority for us. It has been over the year, and it will continue going forward. And as I mentioned in the beginning, the companies who don't understand that mental well-being is top priority are the ones who will struggle. And I hope all of you now will also join us in ensuring that you build empathetic leaders that are ensuring that this world is being future-proof as well. So thank you for having me, and I'm ready to take your questions and comments afterwards as well. So thank you.